Welcome to tutorial 14, and today I'm going to be looking at a few responses to previous video viewers, and I'm going to be doing three classic sounds: the so-called Resse Bass sound, I'm going to be doing Genesis Mama, and John Fox Underpass. Let's hear a few of those. Here's Mama. Etc. And Underpass. Okay, well, let's start with the Resse Bass, and this is from the Master Resse, and the track is Just Want Another Chance. I'm going to start with an initial setting, 300. And on there we want oscillator 1 to be 16 foot with a sawtooth waveform. Number 2, 16 foot sawtooth waveform. And number 3, 16 foot with a sawtooth waveform. And quite a bit of detune on this one. So oscillator detune is going to be -19. Oscillator 3 detune is going to be +18. So you can hear that chorusing and phasing there. We also want the mono mode on. Now, if you had something like a Korg Minilog, you'd also use unison detune. We haven't got that on the Studiologic Sledge, but it's got a little trick up its sleeve. So let's see how much fatter the sound is using chorus. So that's a real fat sound there, but we're going to leave the chorus off for the moment and then look at the filter section. Okay, we want a tiny bit of filter envelope on this one, the amount +6. Now remember the filter's fully open at the moment, but we want the key track to be 89. There we are. And cutoff frequency 82. So now here's that classic Resse Bass sound. So here's Tony Banks's introduction to Mama. I'm going to start with an initial setting on the Studiologic Sledge, and we want oscillator 1 only for this one. Oscillator 1 is going to be on a pulse wave, and the pulse wave is variable from 50% through to 100%. It disappears on 100%, but let's go back, and what we need is 78%. There we are. And that gives a very nasal kind of sound. I think on this one, Tony Banks would have used an ARP Pro Soloist with a few presets in it. It's a kind of an oboe kind of preset. We also want the mono button in. Okay, and want a tiny bit of glide in there as well. So that's probably enough glide there. We want a wobble on oscillator 1 using the LFO. Now we can alter the pitch of LFO1 on a continual basis with the LFO1, and we're looking at an LFO setting of speed 44. Won't hear anything at the moment until we apply the depth, and the depth is 14. So we want a kind of a disturbing kind of wobble on there. Okay, and now we're going to look at the right hand section of the keyboard. Want a bit of a fade in on here, fade in 43, and sustain 127, release 68. So the sound is is staying on a little bit after I release the key. Final components of there would be reverb. Oh, sorry. Yes, key track 89. And the filter setting of this is 82. But I want some resonance in there as well. And the resonance for this is 44. This gives the very nasal kind of sound. And then we're just going to pop a bit of reverb on there. Reverb time 88. So a lot of reverb on this. And level 86. So there we are. Here's the Mama sound. And the third sound is Underpass by John Fox. Now this is a very thick kind of sound. We need all three oscillators in for this. We need oscillator 1, 16 foot, pulse width 50. Oscillator 2, 8 foot, pulse width 50. There's oscillator 2, and oscillator 3, 4 foot, pulse width 76. You'll hear some brighter harmonics coming in now. And we need to balance all three of those oscillators. That was 127. That's 68. A little bit less for that. Number 1, 66. There we are. So it's predominantly the 4 foot pitch that's coming in there. We also need a bit of detune. So detune -9 on that one, and +8 on this one. Now that's given us some wobble, but there's a further wobble that we can put on there, and that is pulse width modulation on LFO1. Now the depth of that is 44. And you can hear that wobbling about there. And the speed is 52, so quite fast. And now over to the filter section. So we want cutoff to be 112. There we are, that's near enough. And want resonance 0, key track 73. Okay, the amplifier section, attack time 43. So a bit of a fade in there. A sustain all the way up to 127. And release 68. So the sound continues after I release the key. Two final components here, reverb. Reverb 78 time 78, and level 90. So we're nearly there with this one, but we have to apply one final component, which is chorus. Now chorus rate is normally 20. We're going to hike that up. To be something a bit more wobbly, and here's Underpass.